Well, the man accused of killing a man and a dog inside an Old Louisville apartment is now out of the hospital and in Metro Corrections. Today, a judge set his bond at $1 million. Wave News reporter Fernando Garcia-Franciscini is joining us with the newest details, what we've learned so far in this disturbing case.
Well, Brian, today we learned Charles Gerlach most recently worked as an in-school security monitor for JCPS. He showed up in court today with a bruised up face after being discharged from the hospital. Those injuries apparently happened when Gerlach jumped from a 4th floor apartment at the Lofts on Ormsby on West Ormsby Avenue last Thursday. Inside that apartment, police found a man stabbed to death hidden behind a mattress in the closet. They also found a Chihuahua in the sink who had been stabbed and drowned. Officers say Gerlach admitted to committing these crimes. Today, Gerlach's public defender argued his bond should be reduced to $100,000, but the judge said the risk to the community was too high.
The danger here is way too significant. The seriousness is way too significant. That would unduly depreciate the seriousness of this allegation.
Gerlach is charged with murder, torture of a dog, abuse of course, and tampering with physical evidence. A spokesperson with JCPS says they are following policies and procedures regarding Gerlach's status in the district. We've asked for clarification on that protocol but have not heard back. Gerlach is scheduled to appear back in court on March 12. Fernando Garcia-Franciscini, Wave.